Hey, Nick.
Hey, Tys.
What's going on, Nick?
Um,
Good. Welcome to another episode, everybody, of Nick, Tys and Videotape. Hey, it's episode number what?
Number 40.
Episode 40.
We are now 40 years old, people.
It is our last Spook-isode for October.
It is.
I hope everyone's had fun. Is everyone having a fun October?
I hope everyone's watching horror movies.
Yeah, like a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have one in the bank that you're going to watch on Halloween?
I like to do the classic on Halloween, so it's either my favourite horror movie of all time is and film, not just horror.
Oh, here we
film,
go.
Not film of all time. It's always in my top 10.
Sure.
Is the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I tend to maybe aim towards the classics.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I recently picked up. I don't know if we had a chance to talk about this film that I loved from last year. Or it's probably 2 or 3 years ago now. The film Krampus. Have we talked about Krampus on the podcast?
No,
the
we
Christmas
haven't.
horror directed by Michael Dougherty, who now is going to be bringing us the Godzilla versus King Kong mashup that's coming soon, the King of Monsters thing.
Yeah.
So one of his earlier films is a Halloween movie called Trick or Treat, which pops up all the time on best of lists.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, and I picked it up cheap from like a used DVD place.
Nice.
Couple of months ago with the
Trick or Treat? Yeah.
That I'm going to watch it this Halloween. So
good.
all things planned going ahead. That's not the saying.
It's a nice sentence.
Hopefully, I'll get to sit down and watch that for the first time, which will be really great. I think
that's
that'll be
good. Watching a horror movie that's been claimed as being good.
Yeah, and it's Halloween, and it's an anthology, which I like that kind of vibe for Halloween night. The spooky stories, kind of the lots of little spooky stories.
Oh, kind of like when I watched last year VHS.
All the VHS ones.
It's kind of little. There was one good story in that, and it was fine.
I'm really barely scraped the surface of those anthologies, but I'd love to get into it at one point or another. I think there's some amazing ones. The one that I have really clear memories of is the second Creep Show film.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the segment The Raft, with the one where there's those kids on the raft in the middle of the lake and there's a black oily goo killing.
Right.
And
so these are sort of up-to-dated versions of almost horror Twilight Zones?
I think it's,
sort of thing.
Were
they at the video store and they had like a green cover and a red cover and a gold cover? Do you remember them? What were they? Because I remember watching them when I was a kid.
Well, that might be what I'm going to be talking about at some point.
Vault. Maybe it's Vault of Horror or something.
Oh, Vault of Horror.
I don't know.
No, I believe, I'm not sure about Creep Show, where they came from. I think they might have come from like old horror comics.
Crypt?
We might get to that at some point today.
Awesome. Yeah.
So it is episode 40 today for our last episode in Halloween. Fucking start that again. Today, in our last episode of October, we're going to be talking a fresh horror movie. We've done a lot of classics this month.
We have. Not a lot of really scary movies, but you know.
No, it's not scary in the sense that I think
is going to give us
people
nightmares.
expect scary movies to be scary these days.
No.
But very like classic, and I've had quite a good time, regardless of maybe not finding all the films massively enjoyable.
Yeah. But you've ticked off.
I've at least had a good time to a degree with all of them.
Total round of applause, though. Tyson's ticked off The Exorcist, the original, and Friday the 13th.
The Exorcist.
Hellraiser. And
Friday the 13th. And The Fog.
Dude.
It's been all movies that I haven't seen so far, which has been really fun. I've tried not to watch anything that I've already seen.
That's great.
But yeah, so today we're looking at last year's box office kind of smash out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Don't Breathe.
This thing did major bucks.
Big business.
Yeah.
Big
I saw
business.
this at the cinema.
Did you?
Yeah, because of the trailer, me and Sam were like, no, we're going to see that.
Oh, good.
We're totally going to see that.
Excellent. Well,
awesome.
that's kind of, I think, what a lot of people did, because it was it kind of went crazy.
Yeah.
And it will be quite the discussion, I think.
I think so.
But before we do any of that, let's
talk some trailers.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
Everybody's talking trailers. So,
all right.
It's only been a couple of days since we last recorded. we went almost 2 weeks without recording just because of our calendars, and now it's been basically 3 days.
Yeah.
So in that time, not much has changed as far as trailers go, and we probably should have thought ahead last time and maybe saved a few instead of just rattling them all
but
off.
I like what we did last week, how we just said, that was good, that was good, that was good, that was good.
So much insight. So yeah, we'll probably just talk two
trailers today?
Neither one of them are,
massive box office hits, but
going to be huge things.
But I think they're interesting to talk about. What did you say? My friend Tys is all over the place.
It's early.
It's
not early. It's after lunch, but still, I'm just.
It's after. Okay, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
I haven't spoken today. I think that might be part of it. I haven't spoken to another human being yet.
Right.
So I'm
Dude, I have a little one. I've been up since 5.
That's it.
Yeah.
So let's do my one first.
Let's do your one.
We'll get it out of the way quickly. And I've already forgotten the name again.
Oh shit.
It was called
12.
12 something.
12 something. No, not that one. This one. 12
round.
Strong.
12 strong.
And as you can see from the title, it wasn't. Jesus, look at that poster.
Oh, it's okay. So, the reason this popped up, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't have watched it if I didn't see that Chris Hemsworth was in it.
Well, I wouldn't have watched it unless because I have a podcast I need to talk about things.
And I'm a huge fan of Chris Hemsworth. I think he's excellent.
I think he's boss, yeah.
And I will. There's lots of things I will happily kind of watch if he makes an appearance.
Sure.
And so I was intrigued. This is a strange looking movie.
This is
really quite a good cast. So you get Chris Hemsworth, Michael Shannon, Michael Pena.
Michael Pena.
Chris Hemsworth's.
You've got fucking Rob Riggle in there as a serious role, which was fucking badass. You saw him in the corner of the trailer, and I was like, "Oh, I saw you, Rob Riggle. I love your face."
That's going to be very strange. I don't know if I can handle Rob Riggle not being hilarious
without him going. Pow!
Yeah.
Are you saying "pow"?
Yeah. On the bit where he's like, when in 21 Jump Street, the tripping balls scene, where he keeps poking his tongue out. He's like, I don't know. Put that away.
And he just
put it away. Put that back.
Baton penis. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what we have is, and the female lead is Elsa Pataki, who from the Fast and Furious franchise, who is also Chris Hemsworth's wife.
Right. I didn't know that.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Taylor Sheridan is in this.
That's true.
Taylor Sheridan, who has become a bit of a writing sensation.
Has he?
He's the man that wrote Sicario, Hell or High Water, Wind River. He's
good lord.
Yeah, he's doing great guns at the moment.
Good on him. Did he have anything to do with the writing of this movie? Maybe not. Oh, this is based on a book. It
seems strange that he would just pop up in an acting only role.
Has he done?
No, he's just having an act.
Well, why don't you tell people what was in this trailer?
It is a
so
9/11 drama, action drama. So set very in the direct aftermath of 9/11.
Yeah.
And it's apparently a story that was only not a story because it's obviously real life, but it's an account of events that were only declassified recently. So up until very recently, this was never even known about.
Sure.
Is that this was the team of 12 soldiers who were kind of the first response to the 9/11 disaster.
Yeah.
So they were sent over in a kind of an effort to
try and do something. Do something,
I guess. And I the details of it will probably be explained, but all we get is that they've been. I love this synopsis. It tells a story of the first Special Forces team deployed to Afghanistan after 9/11. Yep, cool.
Sure.
Under the leadership of a new captain, the team must work with an Afghan warlord to take down the Taliban.
Wow,
and I'm like,
that is broad.
That's broad. Yeah, that's very broad, isn't it? So you know what you're getting, I think, when you hear something like that. We know it has the potential to be very flag-waving, heart-thumping,
very
heart-pounding, kind of...
almost like Pearl
Making
Harbor.
America great again.
Yeah.
And
where everything was, we
but
win.
I look
and
at
you're
this
like,
cast
you didn't
and I'm
really
like,
win in that.
I don't understand. Like, especially someone like Michael Shannon, who is honestly like, he's no bullshit. Like, I feel like if he read a script like this, he'd just go, no.
You guys are fucking idiots.
Yeah. And he'd throw like a whiskey bottle at them or something.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. At his agent. No, of course I'm not reading that fucking script. Are you serious?
What is this? It's fucking horseshit.
Yeah.
Throw something at the wall. Like, that's the vibe I get from Michael Shannon. So maybe they just drove a shit ton of money up.
Well, the thing is, in the middle of this that kind of put me off was I was watching it. They were going. It was straight after 9/11. We're going to send in these troops. We're going to do well. And then all of a sudden the credit came up with, and producing by Jerry Bruckheimer. And kind of, I think that's where the music kind of kicked in. And I was like, oh, no. It's not. What that says to me is this isn't a serious piece. Does that make sense? It's more going for the action side of
and look, in some way, that's not always a bad thing.
No.
I like the political kind of undertones in it may, may make it kind of difficult for some to kind of sit through without being a bit kind of skeptical of its intentions. But for others, that kind of just doesn't really register. I remember watching the Peter Berg film, Lone Survivor.
Right.
And look, apparently it's a slightly fictionalized account of what happened, and I think there's a little bit of kind of controversy about that. It's become like he's maybe not the hero that he's portrayed as in the film.
Oh, okay.
But does that take away
from what happened
from the film?
Yeah.
Like it's a really effective piece of filmmaking, despite despite the fact that politically it might have been presenting a pro-America vision that maybe perhaps is a little bit misguided, and not so much actually what happened and how it went down. So in that regard, it's kind of like, yeah, I get it. It's, like sometimes I'm a sucker for that, the flag waving.
Yeah, sure.
Hey,
I love Armageddon.
Oh, fuck. Like, yeah.
Dude, that is massive flag waving.
So, yeah, I'm skeptical, but at the same time, I look at this cast and I think something must have drawn them to it, and I don't think it's just money. It's not screaming high budget, this thing. It looks like kind of mid-range, maybe 30 mil-ish kind of budget. So, they're not... I don't think they're raking in the cash on something like this.
And did the scene where in the trailer where they go, well, we can't go by car, we need to go by horse, and then all of them are on horses?
I'm kind of interested. That kind of made me slightly more interested.
Really?
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah.
The element to it that they're known as horse soldiers or some shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's interesting. I don't know anything about that.
Sure.
I'm kind of intrigued.
Yeah.
Also, I'd love to see Michael Shannon riding a horse. I feel like that's such a fucking
It's because the man
so
is
much
like,
dissonance
isn't
in
the guy
that
like
image.
6'5" or something?
He's tall.
He's fucking
and he's
tall.
He's so
a weird
cranky.
unit.
And I don't think people
love him.
like riding a horse is always so. You cut like this imposing figure. He must have ridden a horse before. He would have been in
an elegant thing.
Yeah, he'd been in it.
Where?
Surely he's been in a western. Michael Shannon must have been in a western. I almost want to put money on this.
Okay.
How would you not cast Michael Shannon in a western?
Yeah, but he'd be the kind of sheriff that's sheriff of the town that doesn't need to get on a horse. Actually, not the sheriff, like a mayor or something. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
that.
I don't think he's been on a horse. I really don't think he's been. He was in the movie World Trade Center. Really? Oh, maybe Michael Shannon has something about 9/11 that we don't know. A connection with 9/11 that we don't know.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
he's in Jonah Hex.
Oh, he's in Jonah Hex.
Maybe.
Has anyone seen Jonah Hex?
Yeah.
Hands up.
Right in. I've seen Jonah Hex. I remember zero about it. If anyone's seen Michael Shannon on a horse,
please let us know.
Please let us know. We're intrigued.
Call us.
Anyway,
double five.
Yeah. Anyway, 12 strong.
12.
It's a director that is not really tested. He's a commercial director. The trailer looks interesting enough.
Sure.
I feel like this could kind of go the way of a lot of like something like the 12 hours in Benghazi thing that Michael Bay did.
Yeah.
Where just kind of no one really cares. It gets its target audience out in the first weekend, which is like rednecks and
Middle America,
maybe military people who enjoy seeing kind of their stories on the big screen.
Yeah.
And then from there, general public don't really care too much.
No, that's true. This thing isn't winning Oscars.
But
then again, I could be wrong,
That's it.
Sure.
Couldn't we all just be wrong? At any point.
All right. Well,
moving on.
My trailer is that of a bit of a documentary this week.
It was.
It's it's called Jim and Andy. Is there something else to that I'm missing? Jim and Andy, something about Andy Kaufman?
Yeah.
What was the
had
byline?
a subtitle.
Yeah. But it's sort of a long, not a making of, but a look back with Jim Carrey. You're getting the sense because he's being interviewed straight away. Look back at his
Oh, yes. Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond.
There you go.
The story of Jim Carrey and Andy Kaufman.
When he made Man on the Moon, which was how many years ago, Tys? How long was Man on the Moon?
I want to say 1999.
99. And my friend Tys is very rarely wrong. It is 99.
Excellent.
But yeah, just how the trailer shows that Universal has kept the footage of this making of this film away because Jim Carrey went full
method.
Thank you.
Yeah.
full method in this and didn't...
Full method.
Full method. Even to the point where even when he wasn't on set, he was still Andy Kaufman.
Yes. I remember hearing...
Really?
Things about this, but never to this extent. It's funny because when this started playing, I had an idea of it. Like, it was like, oh yeah, I remember hearing something about this. And whether or not it was, I mean, I don't think I ever really assumed it would be to this extent, but I just remember hearing that he was, he wanted people to refer to him as Andy, and he was really inhabiting the character.
Sure.
And it was becoming a bit of a, not like to this extent, which we'll talk about in a second, but it was like it was a story in Hollywood is that Jim Carrey's really getting into it, and it's on set it's going to be it's a bit awkward, and people are starting to it's Jared Leto sending condoms and dead rats to people.
Fucking hell, Jared Leto. No, but there's a difference here. Like, I understand if you're going to go method for certain people. Let's say the movie Lincoln, or
sure.
I don't know, something else will come to mind. But I understand going method for certain things. But for me, this is just my point of view, though. It could be different. I've never been on a massive budget film where you are portraying someone like Alfred Hitchcock or someone like that.
Sure.
Do method. Have it on set. I understand people calling him Andy, and he doesn't want to leave that headspace and try and be who he is, because Andy Kaufman and Jim Carrey are very different people. Yeah. When you leave that set, though, there's a point where you put it down. Otherwise, it's going to affect you. Not only that, I don't know. It's just bizarre to me.
It is a part of the process that I don't subscribe to.
Right.
So we've had, we've obviously had experience in this kind of stuff. You studied it, and I've worked in, a general fields of it for a while.
Yeah.
This level of kind of immersion has never been something that I don't judge anyone for choosing that as their method.
Sure.
But it's never been anything that works for me.
Right.
Or just that I don't feel the necessity for it. And maybe that's why I'm not, making movies in Hollywood. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, maybe there is an element to it that makes you a better performer, makes you a far better actor.
I just feel there's somewhat of a line. There has to be somewhat of a line. Otherwise, you're just becoming an asshole. Which I think that this trailer, this movie, this doco comes in and out of. I think it is trying to show what Jim Carrey went through and how it did affect him in the end.
I am instantly on board for this doco. Like, I'm really, really keen to see. I think that footage is going to be out of control. I think, and because we know Jim Carrey's obviously, and it's becoming a little bit more obvious recently that Jim Carrey is a very
introverted.
Yeah,
very,
maybe I'm trying to think of a better word, but maybe just a little bit askew.
Sure.
Yeah, and as a comedian, it's to do what this kind of stuff that he did. We just always kind of assumed that he would be a little bit off. And recently, while he hasn't been working too much and he's not the great success that he once was,
I think that's by choice, though.
Yeah, I would almost agree. Yeah. I think it's probably a bit of both. I don't think he wants to work in that Hollywood system anymore, and he doesn't want to be the big slapstick Jim Carrey guy anymore. Yeah. But at the same time, it's exposed a bit of a cynical side to him that is a bit, that it could be the result of 20 years in an industry that has kind of, crumbled his soul a little bit.
Possibly, yeah.
So, he appears to be the kind of a very emotionally open, affected person. So, and so knowing that he went to this level, and we see some little snippets of just how crazy it got on that set, I am just... I'm in 100%.
I think when I watched this, I was just talking about it with Sam when we watched it. I think if a person is teetering this close, I don't know what you have to do to become. I'm going to use the word genius, but he is, I feel, a genius in his field, whether it be and this goes for anyone, whether it be comedy or acting or pro sport. Really good at the sport that you do, or an inventor of Apple, let's say.
Sure.
You can't help, if you're coming that close to becoming, if you are that genius or surpass it, you can't help but becoming sort of what the normal people would call you an asshole, because you've kind of in your own world,
There's
you,
like
you
a-
kind of you're
feel
not a
a bit
part
above
of them.
it?
Yeah, you're not a
Yeah.
part of them anymore.
I feel you, man.
And like Jim Carrey was earning, like he was the top earner back in like mid 90s.
And well, this is also that kind of very interesting period where people were starting to recognize that he was also a very good actor. And so he was maybe the collective combination of that. He went from being, oh, isn't he just so funny? I love Liar Liar.
Yeah.
And then Truman Show happens, and I don't think he did get the nomination, but that movie was very well regarded, and there was quite a lot of Oscar love. Yeah. And people are recognizing that you can use this very emotive physicality that he has and turn in like a subtle performance, which is amazing considering just how elastic he is.
Yeah.
He can be subtle. And so when you've got that combination of two things together and he's about to play his icon, he's like his all-time favorite comedian.
He's idolized.
That's it. He's idol is the word I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And in a film, directed by fucking Milos Forman.
Yeah.
Who, perhaps some of the greatest films of all time he's directed.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I could imagine, this very kind of, I don't want to say it's an egotistical thing.
No.
But there is an element to it that if he believes the hype around it.
Exactly.
And you've got to put in a certain level of performance, and you don't want to let anyone down. You don't want to let yourself down because you're playing, your idol. It all obviously turned into this powder keg, and now we get to see
what actually happened.
Yeah. I'm really keen. Have you seen Man on the Moon?
I have. I own Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
It was one of the first DVDs I bought.
I've never seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's really good. It is.
Okay.
It's just it's a nice. It teeters really well on the. Yes, this is comedy, but it is also very much a big drama film.
Sure.
Which it's very heartbreaking in some parts.
Sure.
And it's
I just
fantastic.
remember, it's funny because it was just, I've just never gone back to it in a sense that I remember when it came out, it was kind of, I think it was disappointing to a lot of people.
But that's because
critically it was a bit kind of like, oh, okay, this is not what we thought it was going to be.
I feel that because everyone thought that, this is Jim Carrey. It's going to be. It was one of the first of, this is great. Another Jim Carrey movie. It's going to be, Ace Ventura or The Mask again.
Oh, that's
Instead
fine.
I
thought it was because of it wasn't as.
No, but that's
it wasn't Ali. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't that kind of biopic. It was too. It didn't. That was the general criticism that I heard the most, is that it didn't know what it wanted to be.
Right.
And so and this is my fault. It's just because I heard that in '99. My immediate desire to see it faded, and then I've just never gone back to it.
Yeah. It's good. It's
I must check it out. I will definitely watch it. I feel like I want to watch the documentary first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice way to do it.
And then go and watch the resulting.
The resulting
film.
That's really good. That's a good way to watch it, actually.
Yeah.
Jim and Andy.
There it is.
There it is.
All right.
What did you watch this week, Tys?
Boom, boom.
Dun-dun-dun.
I've got a couple of things, so I'll start with one.
Sure.
Amazon Prime Video, uploading a bunch of really kind of just fucking hilarious
Random.
old school 80s VHS horror.
Nice.
Right. So they uploaded the sequel to Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou. They uploaded Death Spa. Some of these like classic kind of, and because of all the random podcasts that I listen to, not random, that's me, but because of all the podcasts I listen to, a lot of them are genre kind of angle, fucking, what am I trying to say? Sure, that'll do. Oh, I have no words today. They're all gone.
It's all right.
And so I've heard about a lot of these titles before, and I've been like, wow, that sounds kind of interesting. And I don't know if they're for me because I think that kind of VHS aesthetic, and I think I like more in theory than in practice.
Yeah.
I think I like the idea of sitting down to watch an old crusty VHS of a shit horror movie from the 80s. Yes. I think I like the idea of that more than the actual doing it. I think I'd end up sitting down, watching 15 minutes and being like, yeah, actually, it is kind of just a bad movie from the 80s, and I don't know if the nostalgia wears off.
Totally.
And so there's obviously certain ones that peak everyone's excitement, and then you just, like any movie, you go through a bunch of kind of average ones and then you find some real great ones.
Yeah.
So Amazon's uploaded a few of these that have actually got good reputations. Death Spa, for instance, a lot of people say it's a really good time.
Did you say Death Spa?
Death Spa, as in
you get in the spa?
As in it's like a spa retreat gym and things are killing you and stuff like that. So one that they did put up, which actually sounded like the most interesting of them while I was, because I was exploring and watching some trailers to decide which one I wanted to watch. I watched from 1988 a film called Slaughterhouse Rock.
Oh.
Now, Slaughterhouse Rock looks and sounds like a great idea. The poster is sick. The poster's great. The premise is awesome. Like a guy who's having like kind of rock music style dreams.
Oh, that fucking
of
poster
a zombie kind of attacking him on Alcatraz.
Oh,
of all things.
Okay, sure,
right,
sure.
Which then drives him and his friends to go to Alcatraz to figure out what it is, because they hear a story of a band that went to perform on Alcatraz and were murdered. And now their spirits like
what
haunt
a fucking premise.
Alcatraz or some shit. So I don't know, it's something like
Slaughterhouse Rock.
I feel like I'm making some of that up.
No,
maybe.
that's awesome.
Anyway, so the cast is not, there's not really any familiar kind of like horror faces as far as I could tell. There's a guy who's was in a bunch of episodes of Chips. There's Tony Basil who sung Mickey.
Oh yeah,
You're So Fine.
You're So Fine. You blow my mind.
She plays the lead singer of the band that that got murdered, and so he can like talk to ghosts and stuff. And so he talks to Tony Basil on the island a lot, and she tells him what he has to do to free their spirits. And while he's there, his brother gets overtaken by the soul of this demon that was the one that killed them all, and he goes on a rampage and kills all the people that he came on the island with.
Right.
It sounds like a lot of fun, and it was a bit of a slog. There are some moments that were pretty enjoyable. The score's by Devo too.
Yeah, it says a sticker on the poster. Yeah. Killer soundtrack by Devo.
And the score's sick. Like, it's really great. The tunes are awesome. Devo is killing it. Like, it's so good. And there's actually some pretty nifty little practical effects here and there.
How were the kills? Was it like Friday the 13th? Was it one kill? No, not really. Okay.
There's some okay ones, and then there's some kind of boring ones, and there's I don't know, like it was a bit generic. Like the finale was really confusing too, and then it was one of those movies that just kind of ends, and it's like, oh, okay, everything's fine. Like they were just back at home, and I'm like, there's a whole bunch of dead bodies on Alcatraz now, and like you guys are in a bit of trouble, I think. Surely something's going
to happen.
And I think he figured it. I think he got the spirit of Tony Basil transmitted to him because he saved her, because now he can play piano or something at the end of the film. Okay. There's little kind of, it's a big kind of homage to a lot of other things, like because there's like dream-based kills, so you get kind of that Nightmare on Island vibe.
Yep.
It's a bit kind of like possession-y, so you get that kind of element where someone is themselves and then not, because they get possessed, and so they go all big toothed and crazy eyeballed and stuff.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's just pulling from every other
I think it was.
horror movie.
And there's a big, because of all the dead people talking to him, there's this big kind of the American Werewolf in London kind of thing with his zombie friend. And so I think
fog. Was there any fog in this movie?
Oh well, because it was like lots and lots of fog and neon. It's all filmed to look like kind of like MTV film clips.
Oh, because this was This was 1988.
Yeah, this was peak time for it. There's not enough good things in it for me to give it like a hard recommend, but I think there were parts to it that we enjoyed because I was watching it with some friends, even though they struggled to stay awake.
That's awesome.
It was.
Oh fuck! What's happening?
It was a bit like that. But then the funny, like the kind of exciting bits that you're like, wow, that was kind of rad, and bits that you can have a laugh at because they were a bit kind of, there's some weird timing issues, and it's like stuff that pops up in these kind of old school movies where you're like, well, that wasn't handled very well. That was quite funny. So there's a bit of that. I think it's a good time, but I think there's better examples of this kind of stuff out there. There's probably a reason why it doesn't get talked about the same way some of these other kind of hilarious, fun 80s horror movies do. But yeah, if that's your bag though, Amazon Prime we're dumping a heap of them. So there's a whole bunch that you can scroll through on Prime Video at the moment.
Sounds good.
Considering our Amazon Prime is nothing like the US Amazon Prime, we get a tenth of the catalog they have.
Jesus.
So they're just starting to kind of up their game at the moment. They're really they're starting to upload a lot more stuff. Yeah. So that's the one of the things. What do you got?
Slaughterhouse. Mine is the exact opposite. Right. So I've been watching a lot of horror movies, but my beautiful wife, because my birthday was at the start of October, gave me something that I've wanted for quite a while in my collection, and that is I think it's the Golden Collection of the original Looney Tunes box set.
Oh, cool.
So, amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah, fucking insane. I love it. So I think there's five separate collections.
I've seen this
all
box
of collections has 5 discs in it. So counted it up, there's 482. So I could watch one a year and still keep going. Little
one a year.
One a year. How many? one for every day of the year.
Right.
Sorry about that.
Like, how long are you expecting to live?
But yeah, so I'm knee deep in Foghorn Leghorn, Roadrunner, Bugs.
That's great.
Even old school, like it has very in very bold letters on each cover. It says that this collection is for an adult collection. This is not really for kids anymore because of the things that have changed in society, and you have a lot of racial.
I was about to say there's a lot of stereotypes that
especially at the start.
The earlier stuff.
Yeah, earlier stuff. You've got a lot of smacking of small children, and then even Bugs coming up and putting his 2 fingers in Elmer Fudd's shotgun, and things like that. But yeah, I love it. I am loving it. It's awesome. Me and little man, we get up in the morning, we eat our cornflakes, and I don't. I do, but he doesn't. And yeah, we watch Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, and Foghorn Leghorn.
Good deal, man.
Who was your favourite? Who did you have a favourite?
Yeah,
Tassie Devil and Martin. Is it Martin Martian?
Marvin.
Martian?
Marvin.
Yeah, Marvin.
No, look, my favourite was Bugs. It was I was actually just a pretty clean Bugs guy.
Yeah.
I remember I used to kind of be like when it was a Foghorn Leghorn episode, but now I'm all about it.
He's great.
It's really
I say, hold on there, boy.
I love those kind of random characters that didn't get their huge
own
runs.
Yeah,
they just kind of had bits and pieces here and there. Like my favorite one was the big dog with his little sidekick.
Yes, and
what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Shut up, kid.
Yeah, and then it's like when he brings in the steak and he smacks him. What? No gravy? Like all that stuff. That was my favorite.
The little things that I'm remembering in my head that I keep looking up, even though I'm doing it chronologically because Nick is a nut and he needs to do it.
No, you got to do it that
way. But yeah, the one that I'm looking forward to, there was one episode, and I've looked it up. There's 2 of them where there's a gambling bug that bites Sylvester, and Sylvester goes nuts and has to gamble really quick, which is so fucking wrong. And has to gamble,
amazing.
and he keeps gambling and losing.
Right.
And he's like, I lost, and then the gambling bug bites him again, and he has to go and gamble, and it's just messed up. So that, and my favorite, obviously the is it? I think it's either Beethoven or Bach, which is the Bugs Bunny. Where's the barber?
Oh, it's the Barber of Seville. It's the opera.
But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I just remembered my other favorite is the 3 Little Pigs when the jazz band.
Yes, I love it.
So good.
And I watched. So the most recent one I watched was with Pepe Le Pew, who is
Pepe Le Pew,
literally just a fucking rapist.
Yeah. Oh my god!
Like seriously, this poor other cat. Oh, it just gets molested by Pepe Le Pew. Oh dear, come here, and it's just like, oh my god, get the fuck off. But it's so good.
Somehow, I mean, but what's so funny is that we can watch that and just be like, and just appreciate somewhat innocence in that. I don't understand.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so strange though, because you're right. You watch that, and you're just like, well, that's just not cool.
Yeah, it's just.
But for some reason,
run.
Yeah. But for some reason, I don't know. There's a charm in it or something. It might just be the nostalgic kind of value to it, I guess, more than anything.
I'm just waiting for every Roadrunner one. Roadrunner was my favorite. Wile E. Coyote just still trying his best.
Yeah,
he was such a champ. I never liked Tweety Bird. I was never a fan of Tweety.
I don't mind Tweety and Sylvester stuff. I think it's fun.
It was a bit too Tom and Jerry for me, and I preferred Tom and Jerry.
It's almost
exactly
the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've got like a 2-disc, just an All Stars collection. That's about 3 hours of Looney Tunes, which I like to chuck on every now and then.
I know. It's such an awesome thing to do in the morning. Oh,
I should start doing that in the morning. Well, it's funny that we're talking an old television show because I've also started to watch an old television show.
What else are you watching this week?
In Halloween spirit,
yes,
I found, just through YouTube surfing, some, lovely soul has uploaded the entirety of the Tales from the Crypt television series.
Motherfucker.
To YouTube.
Can you buy that?
We can't buy it here. I could get it imported.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's ever had an Australian release.
Right.
And, I may be wrong on that, but we obviously spent many years selling DVDs for a living.
We did.
And it never came across it in my time. So
I would have bought it.
Yeah, I would have bought it too, I think. So I just started watching from the top because I'm sure I've seen some of them here and there, but I'm never fully aware of, sat down and gone, yep, I'm watching Tales from the Crypt. Here we are. I think as I was a kid, I don't even know if it played on Australian television.
It did. I remember, so this is hilarious. It shows how much I stayed up as a kid.
Yeah.
So as a kid, Tales of the Crypt played, it was Channel 9. at 11 o'clock at night.
Sure.
And then once that run ended...
That would have been, it would have been when I saw bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, once that run ended, the Nightmare on Elm Street TV series, which was horrible, that also played at 11 o'clock at night.
Freddy's Nightmares.
Yeah. How was Tales from the Crypt, man?
I've seen the first 2 episodes so far.
How was it?
I'm absolutely
You're
loving
struggling.
it. No,
you're loving it.
Loving
Awesome.
it sick. They're so great. They're really, really great. They're 22 to 24-ish minutes, right? Which at first I thought, that seems kind of short. And I'm I thought it would be more like half an hour to 40-minute kind of style. But they're really, it's perfect. It's the perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
And what I'm fucking amazed by so far, and I can't wait to see who else pops up, but just the quality of the people involved.
Yeah, man.
So the first episode is written and directed by Walter Hill.
Whoa!
And I was like, amazing.
Dude!
Amazing. And it's a story, I've got to remember the name of it. Have you got it up there?
I do, but I don't think season 1, hang on.
Yeah, season 1, episode 1, The Man That Would Be Death or something like that.
Man Who Was Death.
Man Who Was Death.
Yeah.
And this is William Sadler, who I fucking love William Sadler.
Jesus.
Who plays a guy that works on death row who pulls the switch.
Oh, yep.
And after they ban capital punishment and he loses his job, he takes it upon himself to continue to electrocute criminals that escape justice.
Decent!
And
he's the Punisher.
It is the Punisher.
Yeah.
And he narrates it like first person, a camera, and it's really great. Like, I absolutely loved it. The second episode is...
And All Through the House.
And All Through the House is a Christmas horror directed by Robert Zemeckis.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Decent.
I was written by Fred Decker too, and I was like,
God.
"Oh my god, this is like
Monster Squad.
I'm in heaven right
Dude.
now." It's a great story. Like
Okay,
it's a
I need
great
to watch
little
it,
kind of
otherwise they're gonna
Christmas
take it
heist
down.
thriller of a guy that escapes a mental ward in a Santa costume and goes to, torment this one woman in a house who happens to at the same time have just murdered her husband for money.
I love it.
And I was like, what a cool little 20-minute
Zemeckis.
kind of mix up.
Oh my God.
And it's shot by like Dean Cundy, who was the director photographer for heaps of Spielberg and Carpenter stuff.
Yes.
So you're getting these amazing
There you
people
go.
involved.
You have to start somewhere.
And
That's so awesome.
of course they're fucking great, because like if you look at the people involved, it's going to imagine like if there was anything of this quality now, like if we had some of our like top tier directors who just made little short horror films?
Went on a little
horror stories,
little TV show and made a little 20-minute. Oh, that'd be
and
awesome.
I know we kind of get anthologies. The horror anthologies are kind of having a bit of a resurgence. So we do have some that have some of these new horror directors. But I'm talking about like back in so this is 1989. So Zemeckis is already Zemeckis. Like we've had Back to the Future. We've had like he's Explode. We've had Romancing the Stone or Jewel in the Nile, whichever one. Both of them probably by that point.
Both of them,
and with Walter Hill was already Walter Hill by then. We had 48 Hours. We had The Warriors. We had all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, like imagine if I'm trying to think of a good comparison. I suppose the closest thing we have now is Black Mirror. I suppose because we do get some good people involved in Black Mirror. When you hear about someone good directing a Black Mirror episode, it's like, oh, cool, that might be interesting. I might check out that episode.
Yeah.
But it's just there's a real kind of.
But that's a sequence. That's a TV show that's. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's not little stories, is it?
I believe they.
Oh,
it
is.
Yeah,
oh, decent.
It's a different story every episode.
Okay.
But it doesn't have this sense of fun that these have. Like,
Yeah.
yes, they're kind of they're messed up stories, but because they're based on those old EC comics, they're very. And you get the Crypt Keeper introducing them all. It's
the Crypt Keeper's voice. I remember the Crypt Keeper's voice.
Yeah, there's a picture of him. He's really funny.
Yeah.
It's all very. But just this fun vibe. It's perfect for October. It's perfect for Halloween. Do you remember Amazing Stories?
Yes, yes, I do.
That's kind of how it feels. It feels at the moment.
I love
except
that.
with more of a horror stint to it.
See,
I think
all
Amazing
those-
Stories was a little bit later. That was kind of
That was more for kids,
94 to
wasn't it?
95.
Yeah,
I think it might have kicked
and it
off.
was nicer, wasn't
And
it?
yeah, when
It was
you because
family
I
fun.
was 12, 13. So, but there's some fucked up episodes of Amazing
Oh, was
Stories.
there?
Yeah, I remember.
See, this is why I want to go back and watch I want to watch all of that. I want to watch Tales of the Crypt, Amazing Stories, fucking Outer Limits, and Twilight Zone. I want to watch all of them. Yeah. All of them.
I would love to watch all time.
Do you know, just for a teaser for Tys, that's episode 3 director?
I did look.
Richard Donner.
Richard Donner, yeah. And because I did a bit of a check through to see who has directed episodes. There is a man who is about to have his one and only directorial credit in the last episode of season 1. That man,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I knew that for some reason in the back
He's
of my
the
head.
one and only directorial credit.
That is amazing.
I'm pretty sure. Actually, he might have directed some shit movie. All right. now I might be ruining it.
I don't think so. But imagine like Arnie directing anything.
So I get to watch Arnie's. Yeah, Arnie direct.
He directed the shitty TV movie, Christmas in Connecticut. What? Everyone gets that for Christmas. All of I'm saying it now. All of Nick Tys and Videotape listeners get that for Christmas. Christmas in Connecticut.
We'll send you a signed copy of Christmas in Connecticut. How are we going to find that? I do not know.
Who knows?
But yeah, so I'm having the best time ever. They're just on YouTube. If you've got access to buy them, buy them.
Oh, buy them. Yes.
If they were available here, I would happily pay for them. I think they're just the kind of thing that I would happily crack at any point. And just from my initial scanning of, critical response, they pretty much stay good. Like, there's ups and downs, good episodes and bad episodes, until pretty much the last season. The last season, I think, is kind of regarded as there aren't many classics in that.
7 seasons.
Yeah, but there's only 12 to 14 episodes, I think, in most seasons. There's only 6 in the first season as well. So, but yeah, so I'm super pumped. I'm going to smash them all out.
That's awesome.
And there's no way I'm going to get through them all before Halloween, but that'll definitely be something I'll be watching over the next couple of months, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
watch all these.
Have you got anything else?
No, that's it for me.
That's it. All right. Well, let's move on to our feature presentation.
Feature presentation.
Ooh. Oh, oh, oh.
I like it.
And now our feature program.
So we're here.
All right. Here we are. That was a nice breather.
Indeed. Yeah, it was nice. Did you get to have a little run around, a little walk in the park, and
Don't breathe.
have some lunch?
Breather. Yes.
Breather.
Breather.
Breathe
Don't
harder.
breathe.
Don't breathe too. Breathe harder.
Oh. Did you? All right. So we established last week that you weren't going to watch this in the dark, and you weren't going to watch this.
I watched it this morning.
You watched it this morning
with the windows, like the blinds up and everything. It's a fucking lovely day, man. Look at the sun. It's beautiful.
But did you at least watch it loudly? It
was pretty loud, because the sound design in this film is awesome.
Made for it. Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, good.
Really,
good.
Great.
At least that's one of the 3. That's good.
Yeah. To be quite honest, I actually watching this don't think it would have. I don't think I would have found it scary regardless.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
I don't think it's that kind of... Like, 100%, I know what kind of films scare me, and this is not that type
What
of film.
type of films that scare you? Just for next year?
No, it's far more supernatural based, is my
right.
Ghosts?
Or aliens? Because my wife is petrified of ghosts. She will not touch paranormal activity.
Yeah, ghosts, I guess. Yeah. But there's got to be something that... It can't just be like a normal ghost story.
It can't just be the fog.
So the fog wasn't scary. Neither of them. Not even like... Well, I mean, obviously not that fucking second one.
But
yeah, so yeah, I get. Okay. I feel like there's
or is it exorcism movies?
I don't like exorcism movies. No, I do have issues with like religious horror.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I'm not quite sure why.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is a movie for me. This is obviously more tension based horror.
Yes.
And look, it was very effective, I thought. What was initial reactions? How did you feel, Nick, watching this in the cinema last year?
In the cinema last year, I absolutely fucking adored it.
Yeah, sure.
I loved it. There were 2 big reasons, which we'll go into later, that it wasn't a 10 out of 10 for me. It was in the higher numbers,
sure.
but it wasn't a 10 out of 10. Rewatching it though, I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe it just drops down maybe 2 tiers for me, just because of some certain things, which we'll also go into later.
Yeah, but there's some problematic stuff in this.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's choices made.
But as a whole, I think this is such a great premise, and it uses a lot of the elements of film really, really well.
I think so too. I think this movie is like has Fede Alvarez directs the shit out of this film.
Really does.
And I don't think that could be understated. Like, I really want to make a really clear point of that. He is really the star of this film.
Yeah, man.
I think it's really effective. He's he's tension building. He's framing. The colors are just really kind of striking.
Yeah.
The setting is so effective, and it takes the time to kind of add in thematic kind of material and makes it a little bit deeper than
just your average
average thing, which I'm always happy to see. Like someone that takes the time to be like, Oh, but we're also going to kind of make some statements about some stuff. So there's some sociological kind of stuff in there, similar to, something like Hell or High Water. I felt like the way that they presented kind of the result of the financial crisis, I think was really effective. And, Detroit carries with it that kind of that baggage always, where it's kind of like, it's like a ghost town.
Yeah,
now.
that setting was his street.
Yeah,
just scared the fuck out of me.
Well, isn't that just awful though?
But that is a street. Like that is a normal.
That's 100% what it's like there. And do you know when you're driving around and you see like an abandoned house anywhere in Victoria at all?
Yeah,
Melbourne at all? It's so kind of out of place and so off-putting. Like if you see any kind of graffiti or anything on it, like there was a little unit just near where my walking path.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and for ages it's just been it hasn't been vacant. It's been vacant.
Yeah.
That's the fucking word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I think they've been kind of mid-work on it, and maybe they just had to kind of take a bit of time off, maybe because, sometimes stuff happens.
Yep.
But, some of the windows have been smashed, and you could see there was a little bit of graffiti, and, some fucking youths had maybe gone in and smoked a bong and thought how hilarious it was. We're hanging out in an abandoned house. But it had been like that for a little while. And every time I walk past it, it just sticks out like dog's balls.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're obviously in this residential area, this one property that just is
derelict.
like, yeah.
And it always has that fence around it.
Like
they
the
put
chain
a chain fence around it.
Yeah. But that's just...
But this whole street
that's
is
the
like
norm
that.
there. That, like, as for an entire city,
to
just be like, people just pack up their stuff and just leave, and or are kicked out, and there is just a house that sits there now, which is worth nothing.
Yeah.
And it's such a strange atmosphere that we can appreciate, but I just don't think we'll ever really understand that living condition.
Yeah, nah, it was intense. It was really intense.
Yeah.
To start from the start though of this film, I didn't like that first shot.
I really liked it until I realised what it was.
Yeah. I had major problems, especially at the end of the film. I was like, why did we have that?
No,
we did not need that.
I think...
And I'm all for showing you a little piece. This is a little... Actually, no. It's been done to death, but if it's used well, it can work really well.
Yes.
Showing...
I think we've talked about this before.
Have we? Really?
Maybe briefly.
Showing a little bit of what's going to happen at the very start.
Yes, I can't remember which film we talked about that did it, but
really?
I think we have talked about it before because my favourite one is Mission Impossible 3.
Yes,
that's my favourite use of this.
That's why we talked about
trope.
It. Fuck, I love that fucking start.
And it's always been a J.J. Abrams thing. He did it all through Alias, and I think that's why we're talking about it, because I remember mentioning that he did it all through Alias.
Let's watch Mission Impossible 3. I'm up for that.
It's so good, that opening scene. Yeah.
I don't know. Just a side note. I had an acquaintance of mine try and argue the fact that J.J. Abrams is a shitty director. He can't. No, he said he can't act actors. He can't act drama. He
can't direct drama.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Did you get that? That's fine. Sure. If that's your opinion. No, he's a special effect. He knows how to direct special effects, and that's it.
Okay, yeah, that's. I mean, if you don't have an emotional connection to a certain thing, I don't think you can try and argue that with somebody.
Really? I said to him, "You watch Mission Impossible." The start of Mission Impossible 4,
I disagree wholeheartedly.
Tell me that you're not fucking right.
Yeah, but if you can't. I don't know.
No, I understand.
You can't argue with someone if they don't feel something. For me, I'm like, well, I don't understand you as a human being.
Yeah.
But if that's how if that's how it is, that's how it is. It's kind of like, okay, it's like, do you like the smell of something, or do you like that color?
No, but that's different. I understand someone's opinion on something.
Yeah.
If they didn't find that or whatever, but if something is done well and is really, really dramatic, like that start, you can't tell me that he doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you're making a statement. The correct statement is that what he does not work for me. That is how he should be approaching that statement. If he says he can't do it, that's incorrect. Yeah,
the man is wrong.
That's very true.
Yeah,
everyone's allowed their opinion as long as no one states it as fact.
Sure,
that is my thing. Sure. I try not to state anything as fact.
Fair deal.
Because I don't know shit.
No, it's all just opinions.
That's it, man.
It's all just someone's opinion.
But yeah, so you're right. This opening scene, I liked it a lot because I couldn't quite tell that it was Jane Levy. So
yeah,
I was like, I actually would have liked it a lot more if it was spoilers for Don't Breathe, by the way. Lots of spoilers for Don't Breathe.
Lots of spoilers.
We're going to spoil the whole thing. If you haven't seen it, just don't bother listening.
Please.
I would have liked it better if it was the girl that he has chained up.
Yes. That would have worked better.
Yeah. Or if it was like if we would just maybe she was a bit unrecognizable, whoever it was.
Or it's just a body bag.
Or it's just a body bag, or maybe she had something over her face.
Sure.
So that then we could, in our head, we would be trying to guess if it was Jane Levy's character Rocky or somebody else that he was dragging up. Because unfortunately it kind of, and it happens a lot when you see this, and the best ones don't do it. We now know what is going to happen at some point in this film. He will drag her back up the street, which means she has to get out of the house and be recaptured. Because it happens so late in the film, that whole sequence where she finally gets out of the house and she has, it's all really effective stuff. But unfortunately, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh well, we haven't seen him drag her down the street yet, unconscious. So that's obviously about to happen.
Do you know what I mean? It ruins it.
Yeah,
it really does.
I agree.
Okay. But that's okay. There's also something else that I want to bring up about this, but I'll bring it up later.
But fuck, it looked good though. Like that's
beautiful,
why I was like, I was on for
though.
it, because it was such a great
long bird's eye view of just that.
And the way it took a while to
fucked.
reveal, because I was kind of just taking in the surroundings and kind of like, oh yes, there's someone walking on and I'm like looking around at all this debilitated, buildings
neighborhood,
and completely trashed.
Yeah,
and then it kind of
hones in a bit more.
Yeah, and your brain does this double take of like, oh, hang on, what?
Oh, that's shit.
Oh shit. Yeah, and so it was really, really effective. Is that blood?
It is blood.
So she was bleeding a lot then, because that was some legit
blood. Yeah.
So she's dead. She should be dead.
Well,
because I thought that person that she was dragging, like that he was dragging, was dead.
Right.
In
my head, she was.
Because I was like, there's so much blood.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that person's clearly.
Well, they did film 2 endings of this. That's the thing. Well,
let's save the ending.
Saying for that?
Because that's a big conversation.
But
so that really effective opening shot, but obviously we've just discussed. It kind of it doesn't hold up to scrutiny. What do you think of our 3?
And when I first watched it,
protagonists?
3 teenagers.
Yeah.
Look, when I first saw this at the cinema, I was all for it, and I don't really. This is why I always, as a rule, have to watch something twice before I actually have an opinion.
Sure.
Second time around, are we meant to like these people?
No.
Are we though?
Right.
Like seriously, these apart from Rocky.
Rocky is given. Well, actually, Alex and Rocky. I think Alex. It has a good kind of arc where we end up liking him a lot more than we do at the start, because he's a bit of a sniveling little shit at the start, and you're like,
sure, and
he's got no, he can't stand up for himself. He's, he's trying, but he also has this kind of puppy dog crush on Rocky, and so just kind of follows her around everywhere, which doesn't make for a entirely sympathetic character. So we don't sit there and go like, oh wow,
he's really not
our hero, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
that's not how we think about it.
For Rocky. Because of her home life.
See,
on a certain level, but then
I think that I like that they're attempting it. I think Rocky's less sympathetic than Alex.
Yeah.
I think it takes too long for Rocky to become sympathetic.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Which we'll get to.
And money's just a fucking asshole.
Money's a piece of shit. And
he really is.
Well, this is so. I mean.
Go on.
We're in a problem. We have a problem to begin with, because we have a premise of a film where we have no one to root for.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's not always a problem. Like,
sure.
That can be effective. It means that we have to accept that from the beginning. But I think what frustrated me a little bit is that we weren't. We have 3 characters that are very easily unlikable, right?
Yes.
But and it could have stayed that way, and it could have been something that over the course of the film we sympathise for them just because
of what's
actually happening to them.
Sure.
But we have don't get me wrong, I think the scene from the cutting room floor of 8 Mile was effective with the in the caravan with the daughter. I'm like, it's
legit.
literally
Hey,
that
well.
should have been Kim Basinger and Michael Shannon. Speaking of Michael Shannon, it was the same scene. She was just playing the Eminem role. I get it. It set us up for her well. We could see what
why she's
what
doing
this
this.
poverty,
Like,
life of poverty has done to her. That maybe deep down she's a nice person and she wants to look after her little sister, but she's forced to do these things.
Sure.
But to me, that's also kind of like a cheap kind of. We're about to show you some people that you're not going to like.
But we need you to like them.
But we need you to like them, so we're going to have her have a rough home life and a cute little sister that dresses up as a ballerina and shit, who wants to be a surfer, and all this kind of like, which I'm okay, I totally understand and I'm totally okay with, and I actually think it was a good scene.
Sure.
But it reeks of making excuses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why can't they just be shit people? And we're going to see them.
And we're going to see them.
We're going to see them grow or not grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have them grow throughout the. Yeah, that's a really, really good point.
Yeah.
And the thing with what comes about and what kind of cements the fact that you are either on their side or not is what they do. So at the start, when we're introduced to these characters, they're robbing someone's house that is clearly, from where the house is and what it looks like, clearly I'm not condoning robbing someone's house, but this person is very well off.
They're hitting the 1%ers.
Yeah, they're hitting the 1%ers,
sure.
which is fine. Now, Alex, yes, where he's the most sympathetic, but really on the flip side, he's also the most pathetic, even more than Money, because not only is he doing it just because he's trying to impress a girl, not only that, but he's using his dad, who we're supposed to feel like he's sticking up for or has feelings for, because he's not going to go with it because he's still got his dad there.
Yeah.
So we don't really know the relationship between him and his dad. Regardless, his dad works for a security company and he's stealing the information.
The one providing
he's the one providing the codes for all that shit.
100%.
So that's fine. So then we have that. We see Rocky's home life. We don't find out anything about Money, and then all of a sudden we are stealing money from a blind veteran who has lost his daughter in a car accident. So he all of this stuff has happened to his life, and we're stealing the settlement money. That is fucked up.
This is also... of course it's fucked
Do you know
up.
what I mean?
But it's only fucked up because the movie keeps saying it's fucked up, because we as an audience have seen the opening shot.
And that's
we
where
as an
I
audience,
don't like... Exactly. And that's why I still don't like this opening shot. If we didn't have that, there'd be so much more.
I think, because
we'd be on the blind guy's side as they go in, and then they hit the basement.
Wouldn't that be so much more effective?
And then bang, this whole fucking movie changes. Oh my God, this guy's a fucking, oh my God.
And I think that was... I don't know if that was... obviously that wasn't the plan, because he wouldn't have put that first scene in if it wasn't. If it was. But everything else that happens in the movie tells us that it was the plan.
Yeah.
That we are meant to be like, oh man, guys, don't rob this fucking blind guy. That sucks. But
seriously,
we never actually think that. That's just, the movie's just telling us that in its dialogue and in the conversations they're having. So I don't know, maybe it would be more effective. Maybe it's kind of fun that we're in on a secret that they're not in on. That maybe the tension would be, that, because I really liked when they first enter the house.
Yep.
It's a big tension-filled scene. Maybe that only works because we know
who he is or what he's capable of.
That he's maybe not everything he seems. So I don't know. So I can see it going both ways. I'm not sure which one I like better.
Yeah. But could you imagine that start imagine the movie with not that start? Like, that'd be a totally different movie. We don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Apart from that beautiful shot, which I'll talk about later, with the fluidity of the rolling shots of this movie and how it's just so beautifully. And then we see, I think it's the opening credits. We see his house. No, it must be when they go in. And there's a shot that he's sleeping and it goes under the bed and you see the gun taped under his bed. That, in the cinema, I was like, oh, we're all fucked, Like, it just brings so much tension.
Chekhov fucking popped a bottle of champagne at that one.
Yeah.
So, that establishment of the house, I think, is great. I loved it. I
How
really
good is
loved
that?
it.
He knows, like, it keeps it on edge for me.
You also get the first instance of something that I really loved in this film is jump scares that were not accompanied by an orchestra cue and like a weird kind of noise.
No, this was
anything like
literally, there was so much silence in this movie.
Yeah, I just, the effectiveness of just seeing him in one position and then like just all of a sudden I love the way Money's eyes just open and it cuts straight back and he's sitting up and it's just like
how fucking
that's
awesome is
that's
that?
super effective. And worse movies would have had sound cues to that. Absolutely. It would have been over his shoulder.
Yep.
And he would have seen him
rise.
like boom.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I think it was just that's what I mean why he directed the shit out of this. I think it was just such clever choices.
It was so good.
To make it scary, but in a way that kind of it's not like a typical jump scare where you have the shock and then you laugh a little bit because you had the shock and it relaxes a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't get that in this.
No, you don't get the relaxing part.
It's actually, it's like a slower build. So you don't have the initial, but it just,
you're kind of holding your breath, if anything.
And it just stays there, that kind of awkwardness, that feeling of kind of, don't feel good watching this. So that was super, super effective, I thought.
The rolling shots, not only were they beautifully set up, but also it added so much tension.
Yeah.
Just because of how your attention was drawn to one thing, they're doing one thing, and then all of a sudden the focus switches and they're doing something else in the background. It adds just tension and just urgency, and it also made the film feel really quick as well.
Oh yeah, it was
awesome.
Flew by, which
awesome.
I always enjoy with him.
You
like
do.
I didn't have to look. I didn't check my clock once.
Oh, so that's good.
It's amazing.
That's
I didn't
good.
even check what time it was, and I'm on a fucking time today.
You're
I'm pressed for time.
Yeah,
and I was just like, yeah, cool.
Let's do it.
There's a couple of really great moments in that first kind of, let's say, the first reveal, right? So I'm saying, for me, the first big reveal is when they go down into the basement.
Right, yes.
So the first reveal, I think we get some really great things happening. Mm-hmm. I think we get, obviously, we kind of get a better idea of who we're dealing with when he takes down Money.
Yep.
But even up to that point, we're not fully aware of just how fucking
switched on,
messed up this guy is.
Messed up.
Yeah. Because there's still that degree that he's just protecting his property.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're kind of like, because, yes, he's blind. As soon as they said army veteran in Afghanistan, I'd be like, nah, he will definitely have guns. He definitely knows how to use them.
Yeah.
And he knows how to like fuck people up with his hands.
Because he's, not only that, he knows his house backwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay, he's blind.
But that's actually the advantage in his point. Well, he knows where everything is.
That's it. All he needs to do is get one hand on you, which chances are like a blind person would do okay getting one hand on you.
Yeah.
And then it's all over.
You're screwed.
Because he'll just twist, pressure point, and you're done.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the dumbness of these three.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
yeah. Speaking of the dumbness, just before you mentioned
the dumbness,
fucking shoot him in the foot. What are you waiting for? Like, I understand you haven't held a gun before, but he's slowly coming towards you. Shot in the foot.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Come on!
There's a lot of choices in this movie that it's typical kind of horror
yeah.
where it's like...
We're running up the stairs instead
it's
of
not the
out
choice
the front
that
door.
we should be making.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you gotta wear some of that shit.
Yeah. I'm totally for it.
Yeah, I think so too. My favorite of the kind of just the quiet standoff scenes, because there are quite a few of them.
There are a few.
Where it's just a awareness of something. Everyone stops doing what they're doing.
Yep.
He like sniffs or turns and looks
points
a
gun,
does something like that.
Yep.
And then something happens. It carries on. My favorite one.
Oh, it was the fucking phone.
Is the phone.
Oh, so that actually, I've seen this and that made me jump.
Yeah.
Still,
I loved it.
Jesus.
Loved it. Genius.
Yeah.
Because we'd already had the phone fake out prior. Because there's the bit where Alex is under the sink when the blind guy's hammering the board over the window.
Yep.
And we flash down to Rocky, who's texting, and in my head I'm like, his phone's gonna go off. His phone's gonna go off. His phone's gonna fucking go off.
And you literally just get this.
And he's left the room, and
there is
and I'm
no
like,
way that he wouldn't hear that.
Well, I was like, wow. Like, I actually was kind of like, wow, they didn't use the phone going off. I thought that would
decent.
And then so for it to happen like probably less than 5 minutes later with the three of them and he does that thing where he squeaks the floorboard and everyone just stops.
And everyone just freezes.
And then this phone goes off and I was like,
boom! And the shot was so
his
reaction was so fast.
It was great. It was so effective. Fuck. And I was like, that's just genius.
This movie is great.
Yeah.
This movie
look,
is so good.
But yes, okay. I think I'm like when I was watching it, I was enjoying the moment to moment a little bit more than the whole.
Yeah. Oh, this is, and we'll get to that.
Which
later.
I think is a big kind of
it's
part.
It's the main reason of this movie.
And there, so we get a lot of that kind of stuff. It's just it's all about the tension. It's all about slow build of, how much noise can we make? What can we do?
Mm-hmm.
There's this kind of the whole I've got the money thing going on. We've seen the safe now. We know where the money is, and then we start to kind of it becomes a bit of a priority, which I think was not the right direction for the film to go. But that's just me. That's just my opinion.
You're talking about
placing the way the money becomes such a priority for these characters.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But obviously, it's like I said, because we're putting kind of this sociological kind of emphasis on everything.
Yep.
I think that kind of money means. It means something to everybody.
Oh,
but for her, I think it
change.
means a lot
Huge.
more. It doesn't just mean a different life. It means like
a better life.
Redemption of some description.
Yeah.
Like it means that it makes all the shit that she's have to live through worth it.
Like you kind of get that sense when she talks about her tats and how she will never mark her body again, and once she moves, and you're like, okay, it's not just it's not just the money. She doesn't want the money just for a new Ferrari. She wants there's a reason that she wants this,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't I get why it's there, and I know the way I've just explained it makes it sound like I'm on board for that. I don't like the money as a driving force for this character.
I agree with you, and I feel that in the movie it gets to the point like when they have the money and they're just trying to get out. It's like, okay, there's no. You would just get the fuck out. You really would. But because of what happens after the first reveal and how Alex spins, no, he needs us to take the money now. That's where the money changes, and I'm like, okay, this is a different movie now.
So the first reveal is that we discover that the blind man has kidnapped the killer of his daughter.
Yes.
And is holding her captive under their house. So this was cool.
This was a nice reveal.
It was a cool reveal. It was a good little scare too, like her jumping out of the darkness from behind.
Because she's gagged. Fucked.
I love that it's.
And then the light comes on and it shows you everything.
Yeah. His little fucking torture dungeon.
Yeah.
He doesn't torture her.
No.
But this dungeon with all the
hers connected to the bell.
That's connected to the bell. So now he knows that they've found her, and it becomes, which I really like because there's that moment where you can see the frustration on his face that it's gone from one thing to something else. Now, at first it was just they're trying to steal my money. Let's get him out of this house.
And now
it's like, oh, okay, I've got to kill these fucking kids now because they've seen what's going on. They now know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's a good reveal. It's effective.
I love that it was that, and props to talking about how quickly and how the urgency of each scene happened. I love that we didn't ungag her. We knew who she was. Who she was explained really quickly.
Oh, and effectively,
we were getting the fuck out, and then all of a sudden she was dead. And I was like, "This is good. We're not stopping. We're literally running for our lives.
Yeah,
which is really helping."
I wonder where she got that newspaper clipping from.
Yeah, I think he. At the end, I'm like,
it's pretty convenient.
Did he give you that?
Did he look? It's you. When it's like, when you see yourself, when you see yourself in the newspaper, it's like, look, Mum, I'm in the newspaper. Look at it. And it's like a bad picture of your school band.
Yeah, he gave it to her and went, look, I'll let you take this home once we're done here.
Exactly. You can put it in your scrapbook.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I, the effectiveness, the swiftness of her revealed as who she is, it means now that we've got a different we now have a different goal.
Yep.
Our goal is to not only get out, but to save this person.
Yeah.
And then she just gets fucking shot in the neck. Although what was really funny is because I might have taken this too far, but his reaction to her death made me think that, it wasn't the woman that killed his daughter, it was his daughter.
Yeah.
She was pointing at the thing because it says,
daughter killed daughter.
Yeah.
Am I the daughter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think you're supposed to
she
have
points
that
at it
reaction.
like, I'm not dead, I'm actually down here.
Yeah.
He set it up. And I was like, oh, that's
what the
fucking
fuck?
cool.
Yeah.
I was like, I liked that a lot better than what we ended up getting.
Really?
So, yeah.
Really?
I'm not trying to be like, I've got a better idea than fucking these Hollywood screenwriters. I think just for me,
you like something different.
The way that level of kind of irony the fact that he ended up shooting her and we were led to believe one thing, but then
it totally
ends up to be the other thing. Mm-hmm. For me, that would have been like a storytelling kind of thing that I would have been like, oh, clever, guys. Nice. You pointed me in the wrong direction. I fell for it. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas what we get is kind of like...
no, it's messed up.
It is messed up.
Is beyond
that's not
messed
even
up.
That's not even a concern. Before we get to that, though.
Yeah.
So she's dealt with very swiftly, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then we get the fucking amazing lights out sequence.
I loved it.
Which is just something else as well. Like,
and
really
I just love how
else.
He knows where everything is.
Yep, I love he's putting his hand out, knowing you get the fan, get the thing at the roof. So he knows his bearings super well. He's obviously put himself in a position where he knows, because what he's doing obviously is so fucked up. He knows that it might come to this, that he might need to be able to escape or to defend himself in case of police or anything like that, or so obviously he's prepared in some way for something like this.
He even has like where he puts her body. He even has
the
spaces
fucking,
where if he were to get raided by police, he'd just hide her in there.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And fucking he's fine.
So,
what is that? Oh, that's my little love nest. If police ask, what is that?
We'll talk about this. So yeah, really, really fucking great scene. And I love the score that kicked in at that point too. Because it was the first time I recognized it, so I couldn't tell you for certain if there was a lot of score in previous parts of the film. But when that kind of kicked in, I was like, this score is fucking sick. Even if it was just that 3 minutes worth of music, pretty effective. I like everyone's performances. I like everyone having to do we're acting in the dark acting. Yeah, very good, very believable.
Yeah, well, they all put in contact lenses so they couldn't see.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
good.
We haven't talked about him yet. Stephen Lang, dude. Seriously,
Legend.
This whole thing. But yeah, he had contact lenses in the whole time of filming this, and I love that he doesn't no dialogue from him for a fucking 45
just
minutes.
Weird
of this
kind
thing.
of like who's there.
Yeah,
weird kind of pathetic noises of an old man. Like when he tries to lift something, he really sells the aches and pains of it all. I think he's
Stephen Lang.
He does such great work in this.
I need to see more of him.
Do you know what I really like him in? And I know this probably is just me.
Oh God.
In the Conan remake.
Oh. I watched that and I've forgotten it, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's like the main. Is he Tulsa Doom? I don't know if Tulsa Doom is actually the character in the remake that they use.
What year was the remake?
2010-ish.
No, Carla Zyme. Maybe it was a change of...
Yeah. Anyway, he's really fun in that. I really liked him a lot. Cool. Him and Rose McGowan like father and daughter.
Yeah, that's right.
Evil.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And they're really great.
They are awesome.
There's some stuff in that movie I quite like.
It's not bad. It's just that there's
it obviously it didn't amount to enough to be like a full recommend.
Conan,
but God, there's some great little moments in that film.
Yeah, that's true.
Ron Perlman is so great as his dad in that first.
I prefer that to Avatar.
Yeah. And then that leads us into this is the first one we've done chronologically for a little while, but I feel like it's better to talk about it chronologically. This one because we get our second reveal, which I am not really on board for.
Really?
Yeah.
How come? Because Tys is very wholesome.
No, it's not. It's not that. I think it takes this movie into a direction that, that takes away some of its accessibility. I think this film is excellent and could be happily recommended to a very wide audience. And be
then what happens,
super effective. And now, but
narrows.
I think it narrows its accessibility to a degree.
I see what you're saying. So you're saying if
I mean I'm not on board because I think it actually hurts the marketability and the reputation of a film like this, because now it becomes about the turkey baster scene, and now it becomes an issue of like feminism in storytelling as well. I think this is a very unflattering view of male power, and I think it's kind of a bit. A bit gross.
Yeah.
Not like gross for the obvious reasons. Gross in that storytelling sense where I'm like, who came up with this? And do we know if that person is okay?
Okay.
Like,
okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
But
That might be a bit much to say because I know, we've talked about before that this whole rape revenge kind of thing in horror is obviously such a well-established trope and it's been around for so fucking long.
Yeah.
I just don't think it needed to happen.
I don't think anything needs to happen. I think it adds
you're
to.
totally right.
I don't think it. I think it adds,
It adds to his despicability.
Yeah.
100%.
I think it adds to him, and yes, he is the type of person to do these things.
Yes. I don't like
I think where you're going, I think, yes, it would be that if he didn't use the turkey baster. I think that's the type of movie that isn't.
No, I think, the turkey baster is a gross element.
Yeah.
But I think if the fact that she was pregnant when she died, obviously with his child, is okay. Mm-hmm. I think the
next scene for him to pick up Rocky and to do it again.
I think that's just a bit kind of. I don't know.
Didn't sit well with you.
It's hard to. But I'm not saying it didn't sit well, and that's the effectiveness of the storytelling. Mm-hmm. It's a different thing that I'm talking about. I'm talking about in 2016, we're making a horror movie that is essentially a theme park ride.
Sure.
This is
Yeah.
It's premise. It's high concept. Where we're making some kind of some sociological kind of points about the fucking everything's the 1%ers and the rest of us, and the kind of the lengths people will go to in order that, and there can be there's some post-war fucking metaphors in here for how we're treating veterans and shit.
Absolutely.
Probably.
Absolutely.
But it's 2016, and I'm not cool with a girl being strapped up to a thing and being artificially inseminated with a turkey baster. I think that's just a kind of like, what are we doing? What are we talking about here?
I understand where you're coming from. Like, it would be had that scene not happened, had he just or anything to do with him wanting another child.
Yeah.
If that was all taken out of this film, you've got more of a broader audience, and it's more of a classic scary horror movie. It's got more of that attune to it.
Yeah.
With that put in, this is a little bit more aimed at a generation of people who are quite not hard to scare because it's not scary.
I know what you mean. It's look, I'm not even sure I'm convinced. There's a notoriety now in this film, which maybe is just as effective and maybe opens it up to a wider audience. So maybe my point is completely fucking destroyed. But I'm not even sure I'm convinced either way. But it's there's something, and it's hard to define, and I'm attempting, but I don't know if I'm doing the greatest job. Is that it didn't upset me in a storytelling level. Like, I wasn't like put off and thought that made it more horrifying for the characters. Mm-hmm. I think if anything, it took me out of the movie and made me reflect on the movie from outside of it.
Right,
looking at it as I was then having to assess the filmmaking process and the filmmakers themselves,
the writers,
as opposed to being in the experience and trying to understand, from a character standpoint or being empathetic to these characters at this point. So that's kind of, I think.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ended up. Yeah.
Do you think maybe you thought that because you knew about the turkey baster scene before seeing the movie?
I knew that it was an element to it, yeah. That I don't, because I didn't know about the other prisoner and that she'd been pregnant. I just knew there was an element to him somehow trying to impregnate this girl. And he uses a turkey baster. Yeah. We also, and it's funny because it's not. That's
he warms it up.
It's. This is kind of, it's presented, I was about to say it's presented kind of satirically, and it's not. No. But then we get these weird kind of lingering semen shots, and he puts it in the microwave.
That full drip that
it's dripping out of the thing.
Fuck me, it's bad.
It's
and then where it ends,
it's going
the
for
best place. It ends in the best place.
I think that is a great choice. To have that be kind of like her reaction to it. I don't know, I know, right?
It's half a fucking litre.
He's storing that shit up.
Jesus.
So he gets his
a
good one.
He does.
Comeuppance?
Comeuppance?
He gets his comeuppance.
Hey, this guy.
Oh, gross.
Good one.
Good one. I like it. Anyway, I think there's I'm going to go to the internet. I reckon there's probably smarter people who have written it down in a far better way than I'm trying to say right now. And I'll find something and I'll share it and say, this is
what I was trying to say.
A smart person putting it eloquently. Because I'm suffering and failing massively at the moment. From a storytelling basis, I don't think it does really anything. It just, if anything, it probably empowers her a little bit after the event so that she can be a bit weak. She can hate him a little bit more.
It adds to more of the element. Not only it makes you hate him more, yes, because not only was he keeping a girl prisoner, he also shot her, but on top of that, tries to kidnap Rocky and keep her as well.
Yeah. And we get that fantastic fake out with Alex, who
we think is dead.
We're fairly certain we saw stabbed with some garden shears.
Yeah.
And like in a way that was effective too. Like that kill was really good. And like, God, and there's something about the way we see punching in this film as well.
It is.
That's so
fucking violent, isn't it?
It's
so,
like,
I was going to bring it up. I have the
it's
note.
it's wet meat.
Yeah.
Hitting
quick.
knuckle.
Yeah.
And it's just, really
especially
effective.
hitting her. Like, that's like, I can handle a guy hitting another guy.
Because we're so accustomed to it
if a guy
in
hits
like
a girl, I'm
sports
like,
movies. Like, because I fucking love boxing movies
I
and
love
fighting movies.
wrestling. What are you
Think of all
talking
like
about?
the Van Damme movies we've seen, where people just punch each other every fucking day of the week, and it's hilarious.
Where this was brutal. Like, they
felt so brutal.
Just camera sits, and you just see the whole thing, and it's not nice.
Yeah, so it turns out it's a fake out. He accidentally stabbed a coat, thinking it was him.
No, he stabbed Money. That was Money's body. He stabbed Money.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why it stuck in. He's like, yes.
I just saw the coat.
That's right.
So does that mean that Alex just did a little sneaky lean?
I don't know. Well, he tried to hide where Money's body was hidden, and Money's body fell out. And then he moved. He obviously slid or moved when the shears came down. We don't actually see because we're from the point of view of Alex.
I missed the bit where Money's body
fell out.
Maybe I was just that was that 1
he
second
was
I was looking at
my
my cat or something.
He ran into the room and he slid and went to hide and kind of got jarred and
okay.
And Money bodies. It just fell out like that. It didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get Alex and he gets to come down and save the day. Which is also a bit kind of like. I think
it is cliche and I love it, but I love that Alex dies. I'm like, fuck, yes, good.
He needed to die, because he basically died 3 times already and somehow hadn't.
And I didn't want him to live. I didn't want them to yes, come with me to LA. Fuck off.
Well, the only thing I'd say for Alex is because he had the most sense, and like he was the one that was saying, "Come on, we just need to get out of here now." And it was actually like. To be quite honest, Rocky is the reason Alex gets killed because Rocky refuses to leave without the money.
Yeah,
Rocky, it's always about the money for Rocky, and that's why it makes it a bit hard to empathize with her to be on her side. Because even at the end, you've got to reflect back and say, "This is all because you just couldn't leave that bag." You know, like because you had moments to get out of there, you had moments to escape. Even at the very end, I mean, obviously he would have ended up finding them, but she's locked in that car. She probably, I don't know, he would have just busted open a window. But she comes up with a frankly quite ingenious way to capture the dog.
Which I have. This is one of the major problems I have with this movie is it was all awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
It's all awesome. There is no falter. Everything is amazing, and it's so well paced. That dog scene, I don't think that should have been in it.
Oh, okay.
Pull that out. Rad for Nick.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I
just think it would have been better.
I think when she does leave the house, I think that I don't like when dogs are used in this way in films. It's just an animal thing.
Yeah.
I just
fair deal.
Because I just don't like. I don't like seeing animals like that.
No, I totally understand.
And I know that there are some fucking assholes in this world that train their dogs to be ruthless and basically torture them so that they can sick them on people if necessary. And those people will burn in the worst parts of hell.
Will burn.
But yeah, so I'm always a little bit uncomfortable with this kind of dog stuff. But I will say that I thought it was super. She's a very resourceful character, and she comes up with some really great stuff. Yeah, and that was one that I was just like, wow, that's
especially on your feet. Fucking well done, man.
Thinking on your feet. That was, but it was because she saw the money out of the car and wanted to get out and get the money, and I was like.
Seriously?
It's always this fucking money. Yeah. And I get it. It means something. It means more than survival for her. Survival isn't important. It's about the new life.
Yeah.
But I think it makes it really hard.
Saving her sister. Sorry.
Because yes, her sister obviously comes along for the ride.
Yeah.
But it's you can't say it's not also selfish.
Oh, hell no.
Causes.
No, of
and it
course
makes it hard for us to
separate
to
those
really
things.
empathize with her.
Yeah.
Because, you have a character like Alex who, might not be morally the nicest guy in the world, but he knows that he's in over his head. He's the one saying, call the cops. Maybe it'll be okay. We'll tell them what happened.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. At least we'll be alive.
We'll get some shit, but we'll be alive. He's the one that's ready to kind of accept that responsibility.
Yeah.
And she's the one that keeps getting a distance from that because of the cash. And he ends up getting knocked out a window. And I'm like, he dies 3 times. He gets knocked out of the window by the dog and falls on the things. And I thought, oh, he's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
The glass is slowly starting to snap.
Yep.
He gets shot and falls
That's
through the
right.
glass.
I remember that.
Oh, he's dead.
No, he shot the glass. No, he didn't shoot him.
He shot him in... Yeah, he shot
Did
him, he shot him through his chest to break the glass.
I thought he shot the glass.
Interesting.
Because he's blind.
But that's
It was just a blind shot, and he got his shoulder.
It looked to me like he got his chest.
I'm gonna go rewatch it.
Yeah, but maybe not.
Okay.
Anyway, so he lands,
and
then
he gets the shit
beaten out of him and stabbed with fucking garden shears,
which I love.
Which is another fake out, so he's not dead. And then finally, he gets shot.
Yeah.
This kid, he went through the ringer.
Well done.
Having said that, everyone went through the fucking ringer.
No, Money was fine.
Money just got
got it easy.
Money got a clean shot up through the
neck.
Up through the neck,
At the
Fight
jaw-
Club
yeah,
style.
Fight Club
the
style.
end of Fight Club.
That's true.
Where you saw the muzzle flash in his
Through
mouth.
his mouth.
Yeah.
Fincher, I love you.
Love it. What else? What about? Well, I think maybe we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
Is there much else? The only other thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the symbolism of the ladybug and what it leads to. It leads to kind of her finally making the decision to kind of. Well, okay, so you can see it in 2 ways.
Sure.
So she sees the ladybug, and we've obviously heard the story about the ladybug, so we know the significance of it to her. Mm-hmm. And then we get that kind of the focus, change of focus, and we see the alarm, the panic button.
Yes.
Now, for me, I read it as the ladybug was kind of symbolism for make the choice for survival.
Sure.
Whatever it means, it might not be the money anymore. But its survival is the more important thing. I don't know. Or was it keep fighting because you need this money? You know what I mean?
Like, fair deal.
So I like to think of it as the first way is that it no longer became about the money. It became about survival. And if that was the choice, I'm happier. But if it was the ladybug basically saying, don't give up, the money will help you in your... You know what I mean? Like, so I hope... That's just the way I prefer it to read it, and so I'm going to read it that way.
I do like that. I did like the. I was reading a bit about it and how money is. It's all about Rocky and how money is the devil on her shoulder and Alex is the angel on her shoulder, and she kind of is. She's on her own in this, and you don't feel like the relationship between her and Alex is. I feel very one-sided. I feel she is in this for herself. She's not really qualmed whether Alex comes with her or not. She's
I feel like she's manipulating them both to a degree.
Yeah,
because she doesn't seem like the kind of person that would actually like money, and I mean money the character, not money the item.
The item.
Because I mean,
I just feel she's hanging around these people just because they can help her to achieve a goal that she's trying to
Which is another reason why, yes, it's good that it's a complicated character, and I like complicated characters, but it also means that we're in a position where we don't know whether or not we want to be on her side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the turn at the end. I like her kind of in a position of, I like that when the power changes. Mm-hmm. I think because we obviously saw her in such a powerless position, it's nice that they give her back that power for a bit, and she gets to beat the fuck out of him with the crowbar. I liked that.
That was nice.
And then we get an ending which I think is complete horseshit, and it's the end of the movie.
Well, Don't Breathe 2 coming out.
Oh, fuck that shit. So, okay.
And this is where I have big gripes, because this is a standalone movie. Awesome. And what I was going to say before with the director, I think they wrote it. They didn't. No, they filmed it, because with testing audiences, it didn't sit well.
Right. What was that?
She got dragged back to the house, and she got kept in the house.
Oh.
That's all you saw, though. You didn't see anything with the turkey baster. You didn't see anything else. The movie ended with the dragging of her back to the house. That was the end of the movie.
Well, that's that's really short too. There was
yeah.
like a good 25 minutes still.
Yeah.
No, that's probably a bit long. 20 minutes.
They would have had more.
Hang on, no, the
probably
post
filled in.
dragging back to that. That's post Turkey Baster. The dragging back to the house. Turkey Baster happens when after he knocks her unconscious when he's got her out of the lift.
Yeah, I'm
the
saying
lift, the vents.
Yeah, I'm saying that when she gets dragged back to the house.
Yeah.
So after the dog, after the Toasty Baster, after all that stuff, she gets dragged back to the house, and the movie.
Yeah.
I think there's something that happens, but the movie ends there. He doesn't die and all that stuff. She dies as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that she gets away. I like that they're at the airport.
Sure.
I've got wherever they are, bus station or whatever.
Yep.
I like that. Yeah, that I like the moment where she takes a moment to breathe, and we just see that her silhouette kind of relax a little bit.
Yep.
And she takes a big deep breath. I think yes, this is good.
Well
That's
done.
nice symbolism and all that shit.
On the news.
Oh my god, it was just horseshit.
An army veteran has been.
And I'm like, okay. Here's the thing. I'm like, I get what you're doing. Yep, setting up a sequel. He's still alive.
The word is franchise.
Yeah. He can still be alive.
Yeah.
But there is no fucking way a first day on the job cop would look around at this and go, oh, well, that's obviously some kind of torture chamber where he kidnaps people. Is that a turkey base full of semen?
Good Lord, man. Is that a lot of... We've got 6 different types of blood in this fucking house.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Well, hang on. There's blood of a woman here that we haven't found a body of.
Yes.
Hey, those tiles look a little bit like they just got laid fresh here.
There's a lot of
right next
dragging.
to the turkey baster full of semen, which basically... Like, you see that and you go, well, this is an entire crime scene. We're lifting
This whole fucking house.
place. We are ripping this place to shreds.
Yep.
There is no way that they are saying, oh, yeah, so it was clearly a breaking, entering, and he was well within his rights to... I'm like, that's...
I love that you were Australian just then. That was amazing.
Yeah, that is just dumb and is like a fucking middle finger to this audience who they've treated with a lot of respect so far.
Yeah.
They've given us the benefit of the doubt. It's like their storytelling has been on a high intelligence level. I would happily admit that. They took, they caught me off guard with certain things. This is just fucking horseshit, and I was really mad. And it left a really kind of like a foul taste to the rest of the film because I was like, how
they need a franchise though.
But why not say this blah 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 blah? He's still alive and will be tried and so he's alive.
Nice.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen between him being arrested and in jail or anything like that. We could get Don't Breathe 2 set in a prison.
Yes.
It could be really fucking crazy.
Yes. I know that, but this guy, you've got to think, if that can happen, then he's the one that called the police. He's the one that called the ambulance. No one else called. Oh, no, the cops
panic
locked up
button.
the thing.
It's the
That's
panic button
right.
that calls it the cops.
That's right. So he didn't have time to clean up.
There's no
cleaning up.
There's no cleaning up happening. There was no chance for any of that.
That's true.
Like, tell me...
But maybe this is just
do
another...
you know what else is happening?
Yeah.
He gets to the ambulance or the hospital, and there's a guy with a clipboard, and he says, "Mr. whatever your fucking name is."
Sure. He doesn't have a name. I love he's just a blind
I don't
guy.
mean to alarm you, but you had a great deal of your own semen in your lungs
in your
esophagus.
lungs! I don't know what fucking fetish you're into.
It's like now each to their. That's fine. We did also happen to find a turkey baster in your torture chamber, full of semen. Well,
maybe
we have some questions.
There's some kinks out there that
I'm just saying. It's like it's
massive holes.
It's so dumb. It's so
hole.
dumb that within however long it is that the audience is like, oh, he's going to get away with it, because it's like, no, he's not getting away with anything.
No, he can't get away with
anything.
fucking shit.
And also, you take him out of the house, you take away his power. He's just a blind guy that knows his way around some fucking ninjutsu.
Yeah.
Like, so what's he gonna do in a different town or in a different suburb? He has
in a prison.
Well, in a prison because it's isolated.
isolated.
I think you have to isolate him in some way.
Fair deal.
So I don't know. Maybe Don't Breathe 2 is like an immediate after sequel where he wakes up in the hospital and there's all these police around going
Halloween
with the dudes who roll up and go, actually we found like
and it's just a court case.
Who are you? First guy on the job guy, you're fired because there was like bodies everywhere
maybe he
and
kills
blood.
Maybe there you go. So maybe that's how it happened. The car rocks up, he kills that dude, right? And then no, that can't happen. God damn. I didn't think this through.
It's basically just there was someone really, really dumb. Everybody allowed that to happen.
Maybe he had more money on him. He bribed that guy.
Maybe he bribed the cop and got him to clean that up and said, oh, by the way,
And that dude ends
Can
up...
you wash the semen out of my turkey baster?
Can you do me a favor? Do you have any Listerine or something? Fucking...
Do you have any extra? Because
I don't think gum's going to cut it. That was like a full litre. That was 1.5 litre, 2.5 litre. Just semen into this man's lungs. Oh, Jesus Christ. And he was coughing that shit out. It was fucking bastard.
Oh, God.
Shit.
That's funny shit.
So that's where we're going to leave it. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you should all watch Don't Breathe.
I'm recommending it only because I think
the ending aside, this movie is boss. This movie is amazing.
I would not go as far as that, but I
come on.
No,
it was a thrill ride.
It is a thrill ride, and it's got some really, really effective stuff. I think it's like Fede directs the shit out of it.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to watch what else he does. I was trying to think last week what it has been that he's booked for, and I think I said it was like it could be like a superhero thing. It's not. It's the new Dragon Tattoo.
That's the one. You said
which
it last
is
week, which I can't wait for.
Girl with the spider's web. Yeah. Which, good choice, because I think he does thriller and tension very well. I didn't love his Evil Dead remake, but it definitely was like, he went for it.
Yeah,
he really went for it.
Yeah. He's come out and talked about that and said that he didn't like, he was pushed with how much gore that he had to have with that, which is why he made Don't Breathe that didn't have any.
Oh, I actually liked the gore in Evil Dead. That was kind of...
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I thought that was its most effective part. The fact that it went so... full out.
Yeah.
Like it just said, no, we're putting it on a force.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Evil Dead remake only because it was instead of there's no way we're gonna beat the original. No fucking chance in hell. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something absolutely different, which is a serious dramatic,
a movie
that's
completely devoid of any sense of humor whatsoever.
Yeah, which is what I liked about it.
Yeah,
I didn't like
agree.
it, but I liked that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely recommended. Absolutely.
Yeah, Don't Breathe. Come on. Get on it.
Not
Watch
exactly
it.
how I'd like to spend my Halloween though.
That's a little full on.
It's just, we've talked about this. I like my fun Halloween horror. So on Halloween night, I want it to be something fun that everyone has a really good time watching. And
Critters 1,
Critters 3. But yeah, I don't think anyone's sitting around on Halloween night having a few drinks watching a man try and artificially inseminate someone.
I think
stirrups.
I think how old are your students? Year 11, year 12? I think they are loving this shit.
What?
Yes, I think these are for the teenagers at the end of high school are jumping on this bandwagon, I think. But that's my opinion. I don't know any teenagers.
It popped up on a lot of top 10 horror lists for last year.
Did big money.
It did. And that's it. It did very big money as well. It was. It was around the same time as Green Room, and Green Room still leaves it for dead, in my humble opinion.
I think that. No, yeah, absolutely.
But
I agree with you.
But yeah, definitely worth watching for sure. And if anything, worth watching for the conversation. I'd like to hear what other people thought of certain parts of this film, because I feel like like I said, I think there is a conversation there, and there is something to it, and I'd be interested to know what other people think. Why don't we move on and crossing the streams? Because we gotta. This is a big one, because we're recommending what people are going to watch on Halloween night.
I know. I think we're going to have to pause. Hang on a tick.
Okay. Should I go first?
Please do.
All right, I'll go first. I'm recommending for Halloween night a bit of fun. You can go to Stanley. Stan has a few of these films from a franchise that kind of sum up everything that I'm talking about when it comes to the funness of Halloween and scary films. I'm talking about the Final Destination series.
Nice.
Now, there are some shit ones in this series.
Sure.
I think 1 is pretty bad. I think 4 is pretty bad.
Right.
Luckily, though, on Stan, you can find number 2 and number 3. 2, 3, and 5, I think, are the good ones for me. And they're roughly around the same kind of level. I think 2...
2 is great.
2 is really fun,
great.
3 is excellent. I really liked 3. I think it's got some really creative deaths, and the opening scene is, I think... Actually, that's not fair, because number 2 has the best opening scene. The one on the freeway accident. It's
that guy on the motorbike, he cops it bad.
Every person in the world now gets nervous when they drive behind a log truck.
They totally do.
Thanks to Final Destination 2.
And so you fucking should.
So you should. And the 5th one, as we've talked about before, is a secret prequel or secret sequel.
Yeah. Is this the 3D... It's just called Final Destination?
That's the shit one. That's number 4.
Right.
Final Destination 5.
Right.
And... So they're really lots of fun. 2 and 3 on Stan. I highly recommend it because I think they're perfect for your Halloween night entertainment, because they have such a wicked sense of humor running through them, and so you can have a really good time. Like, you're not going to be in the doldrums and depressmo at the end of the movie because you're like, oh, that kind of was soul crunching. Instead, everyone gets to have a good time. You can eat some candy, have a few drinks. When the door knocks, you can welcome children with your fun costume and be like, "Oh, I have some candy," and you can have a good time on Halloween night.
That's true.
So yes, Final Destination 2 and 3. Why not do a double header?
Do a double feature.
On Halloween evening.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Oh no, I've already got my choice. And I'll be watching Trick or Treat, the Michael Dougherty film, which I'm not sure is streamable, but if it is, get on it, or if you have it, watch it and tell me all about it too.
Nice.
All right, what do you got, Nick?
I'm going to go something. I'm going to make something a little bit scarier. This is for those of you who like to be a little bit scared on Halloween.
Oh.
Sure, it's all fun and games, and maybe you're in a bit of a sugar coma and you need to scare yourself out of it.
Okay.
So mine is, it's not actually streaming. You can rent it because I need to. I racked my brain because sure you can stream things, and we like to do things that you can stream for free. On our show, but yeah, some things just aren't there yet, but they are totally worth renting. So you can rent this for a whole of $4 on Google Play.
Bargain.
The Visit. M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit.
All right.
Watch that. This is not gory in any sense of the word. This is something that just sits with you. That's what scares me.
Sure.
Gore doesn't scare me. Supernatural stuff don't scare me. What scares me is if you sit something on the screen for long enough and you're looking at it long enough, it becomes scary.
Sure.
And that's exactly what this fucking movie is about.
Nice.
I think this is just showing the capability of M. Night coming back to us in full force. I think it's amazing. I love this movie. The ending is a little don't breathe-ish. It's a little, maybe we couldn't have used that.
Shits the bed?
No, it doesn't shit the bed. It doesn't completely shit the bed, but we didn't need some of the things that happen in the ending. It's just beautiful anyway.
Sure.
And it takes something like grandparents and makes it a little bit scary. Maybe you might not want to visit.
Grandparents are scary.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Really? Mine's not. Mine's just fucking flat.
Because they remind you that we're all going to die old and alone. They are the scariest things in the world.
That's so true. So that's mine. You can find it on Google Play and on the Apple Store. You can rent it on the Apple Store.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that's going to wrap us up for today, Nicholas.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen.
Next week.
Happy Halloween,
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Please have a really good time.
Have a spooky time.
Yeah.
Which means next week we're back to our regularly
scheduled program.
We will be doing a non-horror film. We're going to be doing an incredibly non-horror film.
That's
just
true.
To clear our...
Just to clean the palate.
Clean the palate a little bit. We don't know what that is.
We don't know what they're doing yet, so it's going to be another surprise, which I kind of like.
Yeah, I like surprises.
I liked it when we did Hellraiser and no one knew what we were doing.
We'll put something up on the Facebook and the Twitters.
Yep.
Probably with enough notice for people, but I can guarantee it'll probably be something that...
It's something you've seen.
You've seen. We're not doing anything too vague. We're not going for any deep cuts. It's going to be a big old palate cleanser.
We're not going to do 2005's The Fog, for fuck's sake. Who would do that on a podcast, you dumb
I know.
fucks?
We spent more time talking about that film than anyone in the history of the world.
So that's including the people who made it.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
Probably. But before we say goodbye, Nick, why don't you tell people where they can find us, man?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for to join our little group, if you want to see what me, Nick, and my friend Tys are up to, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, which is, he said before. If you'd like to write in and tell us what you like, don't like, what you'd like to maybe request at us, you can email us.
We do take requests for movies to talk about, so please send them in. We've had a few requests, and we're going to be adding
we're getting to them. We're getting to them.
We're going to be adding some of our by request programs. Segments again? Yeah, absolutely not.
But yeah, email us at nicktysandvideotape@gmail.com.
That's it.
And you can find us anywhere. Oh, and the main things that you can find us is if you do have an iPhone, if you're, I don't know anyone that has a Samsung. Well, I do. It's just I don't know. You're very foreign to me. It's very weird.
I have no idea how they work.
To me, you look like a time bomb. It's going to blow up in your face. But if you do listen to podcasts on an iPhone, please just scroll down. That's all you have to do. Scroll down and write us a review and like us and rate us. We would really much appreciate it.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
It helps us so much.
That would be amazing. And if you're also interested, you can jump onto the YouTube channel.
I was just about to say, you can jump onto the YouTube channel and
subscribe there as
well. Yeah, subscribe there. We've had a few hits on there recently.
Yeah, it's been nice. We're getting some nice views and stuff.
Lovely.
But yeah, jump on, subscribe there, and leave a comment if you like.
Totally. Troll the fuck out of it.
Why not? Tell us that we're idiots and we don't know what we're talking about.
Tell us we're wrong about The Fog 2005.
Yeah, tell us it's a secret masterpiece and in 10 years it's going to be, reassessed as this genre classic.
This is amazing. Yeah, no.
But yes.
But yeah, that's where you can find us. Until next week, Tys.
Until next week when we get all fresh and de-horrified.
I'll see you then. We'll still have Halloween candy, but until then.
Plenty of it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.